Hey everyone, GoBotch here, back today with a brand new post-game highlight episode for Madden 20 franchise with the Dallas Cowboys. I hope you're all having an outstanding day. Thank you so much for stopping by this highlight episode today as the Cowboys are the victors today against the Seattle Seahawks. But let's go ahead and let's get into the highlights.
All right, so here we are for week 7 highlights. Cowboys hosting the Seattle Seahawks. It was a back and forth wild type of game, but the Seahawks looking for some momentum. Also, the Cowboys off this loss they had prior with the Bengals, trying to get something done and get a win here at home before we got to get ready for some tough games. We got to get ready, obviously, for some division rival games coming up. But here we got a big second for a play action play out, and there is Russell Wilson hitting his target, but he's caught in a fumble. And Jalen Smith picks it up for the Cowboys, and he'll head his way across almost to midfield out of bounds. And that's the first big turning point in this football game. The Cowboys able to force turnovers more frequently in this game than they normally have. And that was a big part of what we saw here today. But a great pass and catch right here over the midfield, but a huge hit there came in, and Jalen Smith able to pick up the football and get the Cowboys an excellent starting field position for their first offensive series here in this game. Now Dak Prescott going out to Zeke. Zeke on the edge on the stretch play, breaks a tackle and goes down all the way to the 22-yard line for Dallas. And then just a couple plays later, the Cowboys able to answer here. Zeke back up the gut, bulldozes over one guy into the end zone like a bowling ball. It's a Dallas Cowboy touchdown, and the Cowboys are up just like that, 7-0 after a turnover. Turn that into a rushing touchdown. The ground game working early here in this football game, but it would not stay that way for long. Ezekiel Elliott did have his struggles in this game, especially going between the tackles, but look at that bulldoze over in the end zone right there. Excellent play from Zeke. Now here are Russell Wilson, just now time to respond, and he hits a slant over the middle of the end zone right there for a Seahawks touchdown. They're able to respond back into this game with Metcalf. 7-7 now. Here comes Dallas on a third down. They tried to scramble out there. We get a yard, maybe two, but the Cowboys will have to force a punt here in the second quarter. We pin them back down the inside to their own 5, but a wonderful run here. Almost gets away from Awuzie, gets a shoestring tackle to force a fourth down. Would have probably been a touchdown. A big play right there in the turning point of this game. Now here we go. 3rd and 6, and one beautiful catch there. Amari Cooper over the top of the defense. His first touchdown of the game. He would have 3 and over 200 yards receiving. It was an absolutely amazing game from Amari Cooper out there. Really the only bright spot of our passing game overall, because we were not able to pass it very well. I mean, everybody else only had 2 or less catches on the day. Cooper, though, was just phenomenal. So 14-7 Dallas. Now there is Tristan Hill back from his injury, gets his first tackle for a loss on the game since being back and returning. But Russell Wilson able to continue to march down the field, and look at this play right here, a one-handed grab and touchdown over the defender for the Cowboys, but there's a hold, and that will have to come back. And that was a big play as well in this game, so they had to force a field goal. They get it to go into the halftime break. Cowboys lead at the half, 14-10 over the Seattle Seahawks. So here we go. First series out for Dallas after the and look at that catch right there. After the halftime break, Cooper comes out, second play of the half, and he goes over the top with this streak, snags it into the end zone for another massive Dallas Cowboy touchdown. And now the Cowboys are up 21-10 to get started here in the second half. I mean, Cooper able to the audible out of the slant he was in, got into the streak over the top. He picked on the secondary, on the corner, on the safeties all day long. 21-10 Dallas, but here comes Russell Wilson now into the red zone in Dallas, and a beautiful run here coming in from Carson, but a huge hit from Jalen Smith, and that will be picked up by the Dallas defense. Another turnover, second fumble of the game, and that will be a huge shift in the tide for the Cowboys, because they were marching on the field right here, breaking tackles right there, but a massive hit from Jalen Smith picked up by, I believe, Byron Jones in there, and the Cowboys now able to punt. But the next series, so they had to punt the ball away, next exact first play from the series, and look at that. It's a second play of that drive. It's a sack fumble. The Cowboys pick it up inside the red zone, down to the 24 actually. And then they'll be able to do this just a couple of plays later. Ezekiel Elliott on the edge on the toss, and he goes through the defense into the end zone for a Dallas Cowboy touchdown. He got a little
statuesque mode right there, okay, with the celebration, but it'll be 28-10 Dallas. That was Zeke's second rushing touchdown of the day. Again, now putting him in the lead with, I believe, 9 rushing touchdowns this season, over 700 yards. He was not able to get a 100-yard rushing day today, but look at the bulldoze over here on this guy. He got all he could take of Zeke and then some as Zeke waltzes his way into the end zone with no harm done. But here comes Russell Wilson down 28-10. They were not out of this game, and it's because of the running attack, over 100 yards rushing and over almost 400 yards passing. Russell Wilson and this offense were impossible to stop all game long. They're able to battle back into this game. Just a couple plays later after that massive run, here comes to the tight end. The tight end will bulldoze through a couple of Cowboys in the secondary, and there's a touchdown as they are getting back in this game now, down just by 2 scores instead of the 3, 28-17. Here comes Dallas trying to hit Cooper, and he caught it, but it drops out of his hands. A huge play there at the end of this third quarter that should have probably been a catch. Didn't turn into it, and here comes the Seahawks. Another catch from the tight end and 2 straight touchdowns for the tight end for the Seahawks, and just like that, ladies and gents, after a failed 2-point conversion, it is 28-23 Dallas, just a 1-possession game as we are closing in here in the fourth quarter. And here comes Russell Wilson after another punt from the Cowboys, and he hits his target over a missed tackle into the secondary, down into the 12 of Dallas. And a few plays later after that, here we go. Actually, the very next play, here comes the running attack. And again, they were good all game long. They get into the end zone untouched by any Dallas defender. And it's a 29-28 lead for Seattle. But here we go. There's the Coop show. It was his day all day long. He had 3 touchdown catches, over 200 yards receiving. And that was the dagger in this football game, as there was a pass interference call, but we obviously declined that PI and we took the touchdown. Cooper, and then the 2-point conversion would give us the 36-29 lead. That would be all the Cowboys need here in this football game, as the Cowboys win this one 36-29. All right. Like I said, it was a crazy game. Let's go ahead and look at the team stats that shaped up. Again, the Cowboys jumped out early with a 7-0 lead. Seahawks won the second quarter 10-7, but the Cowboys went into the half with a 14-10 lead. The Cowboys, though, bounce up in that third quarter with 14 points to Seattle's 7, and the Seahawks battled back in the fourth. It got 12 points off 2 touchdowns, and the Cowboys bounced back with the slitting fire at the end of the game. But the Cowboys are outgained offensively 515 to 385, 134 yards rushing and 251 passing for the Cowboys. And we only had 12 first downs to the 23 from the Seahawks, who just, again, offensively, they are just juggernauts out there playing out of their stinking minds. But they did a heck of a job out there today, made things really difficult and challenging on us. They had 4 red zone touchdowns. They are 5 of 6, y'all, out there in the red zone today. And they had the clock advantage as well, 30 minutes and 26 seconds to our 25-34. They beat us at our own game, ladies and gentlemen, but the Cowboys came back and we won this game. It was a wild one, a wild game, but we came out on top. Let's go ahead and look at the players' stats here today. Russell Wilson led in the passing category here. You see him with the 122.2, 33 of 45, 398 through the air. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Dak Prescott, 140.9 passers rating, 14 of 23 after a really slow start, 268 yards passing, had 3 touchdowns and no picks. Both guys had some sacks, but not too much overall. Let's go ahead and look at the rushing stats here today. Zeke, 23 rushes, 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Chris Carson, 22 rushes, 122 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Pollard had 8 of 26. Dak, 4 scrambles for 12. And that was that. Receiving-wise, though, this was the difference here in this game. Amari Cooper, 9 catches, 222 yards, and 3 touchdowns, ladies and gentlemen. And he also, not to mention, he had 3 drops on the game. But he had a 76-yard one. That was the long of the game. Lockett for the Seahawks led the way with 8 catches, 92 yards. Followed just behind is Cameron Brate, who had 2 touchdown receptions. But for Dallas, outside of those top 2 guys, Gallup had 2 catches for 27 yards. Cobb had 1 for 12. Jarwin 1 for 9. Zeke 1 for -2. And that was it, man. It was Amari Cooper's show through and through today on the receiving side today. The top tackler, Jalen Smith for Dallas, 17 tackles. None for a loss, no sacks, of course, but followed that. But it's a Woozier, 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. Top tackle for a loss guy today, we had these 4, all with 2 each. The top sack man today, we had all these different guys with all 1 sack each. So it was a very back and forth kind of game right there. A lot of guys spreading it out, but it makes me really happy to see that. But I thank you all so much for watching today's highlight show for the Dallas Cowboys franchise. That was Week 7. Again, stay tuned tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow on kickoff Sunday for the Cowboys, we're going to actually have a Week 8 preview show where we'll talk about all the league news and highlights and everything going on around the league, stats, standings, all that good jazz as we build up to the Week 8 Cowboys matchup, which you'll be seeing on Monday. But thank you all so much for stopping by this highlight show episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up, comment down below, hit that notification bell, and feel free to subscribe. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all back here in the next video. Y'all take it easy.